Picture this. A mother pulls into a drive-thru at 6:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. She's exhausted. The kids are screaming in the back seat. She
Can I
orders
get the
without
burger
thinking.
and fries
The
combo?
same meal she ordered last week, and the week before that. She doesn't know why, but someone does. Somewhere in a corporate laboratory, a team of food scientists just logged her purchase. They predicted it 3 days ago. They engineered it 30 years ago, and they've been perfecting it ever since. This isn't a restaurant. This is a laboratory, and you're the experiment. Welcome to the hidden world of fast food psychology, where every color, every scent, every sound has been weaponized, where billion-dollar corporations have turned eating into an addiction, and where the battleground isn't your stomach, it's your brain. In 1999, a group of the most powerful food executives in America gathered in a Minneapolis conference room. The meeting was secret. The agenda was survival. Obesity rates were climbing. Public health officials were circling, and these companies needed a strategy. A vice president from Kraft stood up. He presented data showing that their products were contributing to a nationwide health crisis. He proposed reforming their recipes, reducing sugar, salt, fat. The room went silent. Then, one by one, the other executives rejected the plan, not because they disagreed with the science, but because the science was exactly why they couldn't stop. They had discovered something more powerful than taste. They had discovered the bliss point. The bliss point is the precise amount of sugar, salt, or fat that triggers maximum pleasure in the human brain. Not too much, not too little. Exactly enough to light up your reward centers like a Christmas tree. Food scientists spend millions finding it. For every product, every market, every demographic. A Coca-Cola contains exactly 39 grams of sugar, not 38, not 40. That number was calculated using advanced algorithms and thousands of taste tests. It's the mathematical formula for craving. McDonald's fries are engineered with 19 ingredients, not to improve nutrition, but to hijack your senses. The golden color activates visual pleasure centers. The salt concentration triggers dopamine release. The texture creates what scientists call vanishing caloric density. The fry dissolves so quickly in your mouth that your brain doesn't register fullness. So you eat more, and more, before your body realizes what's happened. This isn't cooking. This is neuroscience. But the food itself is only the beginning. Walk into any fast food restaurant and you're entering a carefully designed psychological trap. Every element has been tested, optimized, weaponized. The colors aren't random. Red and yellow dominate fast food branding for a biological reason. Red increases heart rate and stimulates appetite. Yellow triggers happiness and impulsivity. Together, they create what marketers call the ketchup and mustard effect. Your brain sees these colors and begins preparing for food before you've even ordered. The music isn't background noise. Fast food restaurants play music at specific tempos. Upbeat tracks during lunch rushes increase table turnover by 32%. The faster the beat, the faster you eat. The faster you leave, the more customers they can serve. Even the chairs are designed against you. Studies show that uncomfortable seating reduces dining time by an average of 11 minutes. That's 11 more minutes for the next customer, 11 more transactions per hour. The menus themselves are psychological masterpieces. Items are placed using the golden triangle principle. Your eyes naturally move to the upper right corner first. That's where the highest profit items live. The center is secondary. The bottom left is the graveyard where healthy options go to die. Prices end in 99 cents not because of tradition but because of a cognitive bias called left digit anchoring. Your brain processes $4.99 as significantly cheaper than $5, even though the difference is 1 penny. Across billions of transactions, those pennies become empires. And the portion sizes? They're growing, but you're not noticing. In 1955, a McDonald's hamburger weighed 1.6 ounces. Today's quarter pounder with cheese weighs 7.6 ounces. A small soda was 7 ounces. Now it's 16. But they introduced it gradually, over decades. So slowly that each generation accepts the new normal. This is called portion distortion, and it's recalibrated your understanding of how much food a human should consume. Here's what happens in your brain when you eat fast food. Within seconds of that first bite, your taste buds send signals to your brainstem. Sugar triggers the release of dopamine in the nucleus accumbens, the same region activated by cocaine, the same pathway exploited by gambling, the same neurological mechanism that creates addiction. Your brain doesn't differentiate between pleasure sources. It just wants more. Salt activates the amygdala and releases endorphins, natural opioids that reduce stress and create calm. That's why you crave McDonald's after a hard day. You're not hungry. You're self-medicating. Fat triggers the release of ghrelin, a neuropeptide that increases cravings for more fat. It's a biological feedback loop. The more you eat, the more you want. But here's the sinister part. These foods are engineered to be hyper-palatable but nutritionally empty. Your body consumes 1/500 calories but receives almost no actual nutrition, so it stays hungry. It keeps signaling for food, real food, nutrients, vitamins, minerals. But you interpret that signal as a craving for more burgers, more fries, more soda. You're caught in a cycle of consumption without satisfaction, eating without nourishment, pleasure without fulfillment. And the industry knows it. Internal documents from major fast food companies reveal strategies with names like heavy user targeting. They identified that 20% of customers provide 80% of revenue. These heavy users visit multiple times per week. They're often lower income, often struggling with food insecurity, often without access to healthier options. And they're the most profitable demographic. So companies design loyalty programs, mobile apps, and targeted advertising specifically to keep them coming back, to make fast food not just convenient, but necessary, comforting, identity. The implications stretch far beyond individual health. American fast food generates over $200 billion annually. It employs millions. It feeds hundreds of millions. It has become embedded in the economic and social fabric of the nation. But the costs are staggering. Obesity-related healthcare expenses exceed $170 billion per year. Type 2 diabetes affects over 37 million Americans. Heart disease remains the leading cause of death. And the correlation with fast food consumption is undeniable. Children are the most vulnerable targets. The average American child sees thousands of fast food advertisements before age 12. Ronald McDonald is more recognizable to young children than any historical figure. Happy Meals use toys as psychological triggers, creating positive associations with branded foods during critical developmental windows. These aren't customers being cultivated. These are habits being programmed. Entire communities have been reshaped. Food deserts now exist in urban and rural America where fast food is the only accessible option, where a McDonald's stands on every corner but fresh produce requires a car and 30 minutes of travel. This isn't about personal responsibility anymore. This is about environmental design, about economic inequality, about a food system that profits from dysfunction. The executives who met in Minneapolis in 1999 made a choice. They chose profit over health, addiction over nutrition, short-term gains over long-term consequences. But here's what they couldn't have predicted. You're watching this video. You're learning how the system works. You're seeing the mechanisms that were designed to remain invisible. Knowledge is the antidote to manipulation. Every time you recognize the bliss point, you weaken its power. Every time you notice the colors, the music, the portion sizes, you step outside the laboratory. Every time you choose awareness over automation, you reclaim control. The architecture of fast food psychology is vast, sophisticated, powerful, but it only works if you don't see it. Now you do. The question is, what are you going to do about it? And if they've engineered food to control your brain, what else have they engineered?